What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P. We are back here once again, and you already know what time it is. It is time. The Lions sphere. Um, I'm sure you've heard the news. There has been some news. So we're going to get into that today, along with some other things. Got some free agent opinions for your Detroit Lions. And as far as what should we do with them, got the Rodwood news. Got some Jamel Dean news. So we're going to go ahead and started. You know that one thing is for certain and three things are for sure. When you see me in front of your TV, number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats and not none of that static. And number three, perhaps the most important number of them all, number three. We want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And you may be asking yourself, how, Don? How, Mr. P, does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's very simple. It's easy. I'll tell you. Smash like button, subscribe, share with your peoples. And once you've done those three things in any order, doesn't matter which order, you've indeed kept your Lions news pragmatic. And since sharing is indeed caring, and we're talking about your peoples, make sure that you share this with your mothers, your brothers, your fathers, your sisters, your cousins, your uncles, your brothers, your fathers, your sisters, your brothers, you name it. You name it. And after that, you've indeed cared about these people. What up, though, everybody in the chat? What up, though, Tactical Sport? What up, though, Mark Garcia? What up, though, to all the ones that are lurking and twerking, smirking, working? But if you're doing too much more of things that rhyme with lurking, I don't want to know. Keep them to yourself. Keep them to yourself. All right. Again, we'll get the news out of the way. So we know that Rod Wood, okay, this isn't breaking news, but I'll do the horn anyway. Rod Wood has indeed stepped down as the Detroit Lions team president. He was a longtime team president, and it's effective immediately. He will not be going into the 2026 season as the Detroit Lions team president. It is kind of weird, the timing of it all. Right before free agency, none of the restructures have been done. Jared Goff still has a massive cap hit. Amon-Ra St. Brown still has a massive cap hit. Penei Sewell still has a massive cap hit. So why did Rod Wood retire today? We're going to check this out. This is an article by Malik Brown. Shout out to Malik Brown. He must be a cool dude. You know, most people named Malik are. NFL on clutch points. It says, Lions president to retire before 2026 NFL season. The Detroit president and CEO Rod Wood will be retiring before the 2026 season, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. Detroit Lions president and CEO Rod Wood has announced that he will retire before the start of X, formerly Twitter. Wood wrote a statement regarding his retirement, thanking the organization for his time and what he was able to accomplish with the team. I want to thank the Ford family and ultimately Lions fans, especially during the Quinn Trisha era. We didn't trust you, but you know, you kind of got back in the good graces somehow with Sheila Ford Hamp coming in. So Wood said in a statement, "It has been an absolute thrill for me to lead this organization, and I am proud of what we have accomplished over that decade." Brian Dan Campbell. So that was Rod Wood's statement. Like I said, 11 seasons, very, very long time. Detroit Lions team president. As you know, he was the point man, or the fall guy, whatever you want to call it, with the whole Calvin Johnson situation, where They wanted to take back signing bonus. They actually did take back some signing bonus from Calvin Johnson because he retired. They wouldn't give him his money back. This, that, and the third thing. So that was all Rod Wood. Raising ticket prices. That was all Rod Wood. Okay. But like I said, somehow when Sheila came in, he was able to re-ingratiate himself to the fan base. A true redemption story, I guess. So Wood became the team president in November 2015 and oversaw all the team's football and business operations. Lions owner Sheila Fort Hamp spoke about Wood and his contributions to the team over the years. The entire Ford family would like to thank Rod for his dedication and commitment to the Detroit Lions and the city of Detroit. Leader for our organization and the entire NFL during that time, and has prepared our organization for a promising future. While Rod will be missed, we are excited to work with Russell Reynolds Associates to find the next dynamic leader of our business. One second. Say it like no. Yeah. Yes. All right. Yes. But that's why I said pasta is cold with eggs separations. Just normal stuff. Anything that you eat, I probably could eat it. As long as it's seasoned. Huh? It does. All right. For their next president immediately, and Wood will stay. Very weird. Very weird that they are going to search outside when you have an instrumental in getting all of these contracts done. All of this money with all of these people that are under contract from. Okay. I'm back. I don't know what happened there. They're just a few restructures away from $115 million of cap space. And that's just Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, and Penei Sewell. So this is the guy who's done all of these things. And he's also interviewed for team president positions elsewhere. If you don't want to let that guy out of the building, it's very simple. You just hire Mike Disney. So it's very weird that they've hired an outside firm and they're going to be searching for a team president when they have an obvious candidate underneath their noses. So if Mike Disney gets out of the building, it's not that no one else can do contracts the way that Mike Disney can. It's just that you have the guy, he's already there, he's already doing the hell's going on with my internet today. So I don't know. My internet is acting kind of funny today. I do not know why. But Yeah, I don't know what's going on, guys. I swear. This the same Shep situation. This is fantastically, and then I don't know. It's kind of weird to me. It's kind of weird that Mike Disner wouldn't just be slotted right on in there. Um, Let me see what y'all got to say. I wasn't that much of a fan of Rod Wood anyway. He was there during the dark ages, and I'm not sure if the turnaround was him or not. So I'm going to just say it wasn't him that turned things around. Oh no, it wasn't him that turned things around for sure. I just say uh he had a less of a because remember we hated Rod Wood, like we wanted Rod Wood gone. Um, and then we tolerated him and didn't really pay too much mind to him when Sheila got there and the new regime got there and turned things around. We again, when Sheila did come in, we were like, why don't you fire Rod Wood as well? Right. And then she said he would stay on as the team president and blah, 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 blah. And then things started going up. So we really didn't care about Rod Wood, to be quite honest with you. What up, though, Ship? He says, hey, Chef, did you see the Kirby picture of his knee? I'm not going to make a big deal out of it, but it is definitely something to be a little concerned about. I did see the picture of his knee. I all I know is it was treatment, right? He was getting treatment. Um, it wasn't surgical. I don't know if it okay. If it happens again, I will just reset the router because it did kind of like log me or lag me out. So, like I said, I don't know what's happening. This is the same internet I had yesterday. It's the same internet I've been had. So I don't know what the deal is today. Um, uh, yeah. So what I was saying was that the picture of Kirby's knee is it's treatment. I think. I don't know if they were getting ready to inject stem cells or whatever have you, but that does seem to be what that is. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Timing does seem odd. I see that Wood is staying until they hire a replacement. Again, I don't know why they got to look for a replacement. I would think that Mike Disner is right there and he's available to be promoted. I think that's more of a no brainer than the Detroit Lions just doing Detroit Lion things and being afraid of the unknown and being afraid of outside people. And the I will give you guys the word of the day. If you don't know, xenophobia. The Detroit Lions are very xenophobic organization. If you don't know what xenophobic is, look it up and then you'll understand what it is. I think they're hiring the firm just to do their due diligence, but will ultimately hire Mike D. Then you're wasting money. You're wasting money and you're wasting time. If you're telling, and then you got to go tell Mike Disner, hey man, you're gonna get the job, but we just got to make sure that we look like we're doing something. And you don't need to look like you're doing something. It is a team president. It's not a freaking coach. It's not a head coach. It's not an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator. They didn't do no damn due diligence when they hired them Chuck. They didn't do no damn due diligence when they hired Johnny Morton. So why we need to do due diligence on a team court on a team president? I don't know, but I understand what you're saying. All right. So that's the Rod Wood stuff. Good luck, Rod. You'll be missed by someone. You know what I'm saying? Somebody will miss you. Won't be me, but I really don't. Yeah, it doesn't bother me either way. We've got a pros and cons article. Okay, so let me do that one later. But this is the one that I wanted to get to. Let's see. All right. This is an article from Mike Payton. NFL Insider pairs the Lions with a player they should have signed 3 years ago. Finally, here is one that I fully agree with. I wrote earlier on Wednesday about how insiders keep pairing the Detroit Lions with guys who were once good instead of guys who are still good. This time it works. NFL Insider believes the Lions are the best fit for cornerback Jamel Dean. Fox Sports NFL Insider Greg Oman listed the top 100 free agents available and paired each of them with a team. Dean was one of the guys he paired with the Lions. Here's what he had to say. Dean, 29, had one of the league's more remarkable seasons, agreeing to an $8 million pay cut but to stay in Tampa. Then having a huge season with 3 interceptions and 2 forced fumbles. Pro Football Focus loves him, rating him as the NFL's number 5 cornerback for 2025 and ranking him as the number 5 overall free agent at any position. He could draw his old Bucs salary of $12 million a year as a free agent, but he's only played for Todd Bowles in Tampa and likes it there, so there's no telling what he'll do. Let's start here. This is what the article says. I'm going to tell you, I don't love it so far. I'm not the money guy. We don't have enough money. You all know that. But here's the thing. You just paid DJ Reed $16 million a year. He's cheeks. Now you want to pay Jamel Dean $12 million a year. What happens with DJ Reed? Because I'm not concerned about Terrion Arnold because he's here. He was drafted to be here. He's not going anywhere. Are you moving him to the nickel to play that star position that he played at Alabama? What happens with Terrion Arnold when you've got roughly $28 million per year? I know the AAV and the actual money is not the same. Okay. What happens when you have almost $30 million a year tied up in the quarterback position? Actually would be $30 million a year, depending on whatever Terrion Arnold's salary is, because he's not playing for free. So you got $30 million a year tied up in the cornerback position. That doesn't make sense to me. Maybe they should have done this last year. Maybe they couldn't have because he did take an $8 million pay cut to stay in Tampa Bay. If he took an $8 million pay cut to stay in Tampa Bay and then he comes out of Tampa Bay, wants to test the free agent market, he's definitely not taking that same pay cut. Did you hear? Yes, I heard that. Uh, we'll talk about that too. Yes, I've got just the player they can take for Max. I've got just the player. I already told you guys I don't care nothing about 2 first-round picks because it's 1 first-round pick. Okay. Again, you're drafting with the 17th pick of the 2026 NFL draft. The Detroit Lions select Max Crosby, Las Vegas Raiders. Next year, they won't say that about you because you don't have a first round pick. This year, your first round pick's Max Crosby. So I don't. If you're going to draft an edge, he's not going to be what Max Crosby is right now. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't care about that first round pick. The second first round pick, okay, you lost it, right? The first round pick is a pick that you've used. You've drafted a player, right? You can't say the same thing about the second one because you got nothing for that guy that year. This year, for your first round pick, for pick number 17, you get Max Crosby. That's who you drafted, number 17 overall, right? If they could redraft, this is basically the equivalent of a redraft. If you could redraft, Max Crosby is a top 10 draft player. He's a top 10 draft player. Depending on the year, he might go number 1 overall, right? So now you have the chance to draft him at 17 in your redraft. So that's very simple. I don't care about the 2 first-round picks. And the player, Elaine McNeil, we'll talk about that later. You can, hey, thank you for your service. Okay. I don't, All right. So here, let's start here. We talked about this recently when we ranked the Lions' offseason needs. We put cornerback up pretty high because the Lions just can't afford to wait anymore there. They need proven talent, and they just haven't been able to find it. Frankly, this should have been Brad Holmes' number 1 move in 2023. He's a DB snob. That wasn't his number 1 move. He did. He just went and got Emmanuel Mosley. But the Lions instead went with Cameron Sutton and Emmanuel Mosley. Neither worked out. Then Carlton Davis didn't want to come back. DJ Reed, lies. Carlton Davis didn't want to come back. You see, this is why I don't deal with freaking Mike Payton. Carlton Davis wanted to come back. You didn't want to pay him. He sat there and told you Dan Campbell was his favorite coach that he ever played for, right? He'll probably say the same thing about Mike Vrabel at this point in time, but he said that about Dan Campbell after having played for Todd Bowles. He wanted to come back. Brad Holmes did not want to pay him. Zadarius Smith wanted to be here. Brad Holmes didn't want him here. It wasn't anything about Carlton Davis not wanting to come back. That is cap. Stop the cap. All right. DJ Reed got hurt, and so did Terrion Arnold. Enough is enough. Dean is still very good and arguably even better than he was in 2023. If the Bucks do let him out of their sight, $12 million a year is more than fair for a cornerback who would change the Lions' secondary over night. I don't have a Jamel Dean's a very good corner. He's fast, he's long, pause. Issue with that. I'd love to have Jamel Dean instead of DJ Reed. The problem is, okay, if it happens one more time, I'm just going to restart the router. All right. You're paying DJ Reed an AAV of $16 million per year. He's not elite. Jamel Dean is closer to elite than he is, but I'd say he's above average. If you had Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis like they did in Tampa Bay, that would be something different. Unless DJ Reed has a serious bounce back season, because I don't want to hear nothing about him being hurt. Look, everybody forgets the Packers game. Was he not getting cooked by, who was it? Romeo Dobbs or Dontavian Wicks or whoever it was. Was he not getting cooked in the Packers game? Right? He had 2 interceptions, I think 2, in the Browns game. It's the Browns, the Cleveland Browns. And I think that was his only 2 interceptions. Right? Was it the Browns, or was that just his second interception of the year and then he got injured? Now, the stat for DJ Reed is this. He's only given up 50 yards in a few games. And in those games, he went up against CeeDee Lamb, who was it? I don't have the exact, but basically these were elite wide receivers. It was CeeDee Lamb. Let me get the numbers. Yeah, something's going on with my internet right now. All right. So games with 50 plus yards allowed. Week 15 versus the Los Angeles Rams, Reed allowed his season high in yardage, giving up approximately 68 yards in coverage. That was against Davante Adams. Week 1, Romeo Dobbs and Jaden Reed. Now his numbers are skewed. Okay. In the Lions Week 14 game against the Dallas Cowboys on December 4th, 2025, DJ Reed gave up 105 yards in coverage to CeeDee Lamb. Okay. Davante Adams, CeeDee Lamb. Those guys are in the elite conversation. Not even conversation. We know Devontae Adams is elite, even though he's older. We know CeeDee Lamb is purportedly elite. Romeo Doubs and Jaden Reed are elite in whose book? I don't know whose book they're elite in, if they're elite in anybody's book. Okay. But here's the thing, you're getting paid $16 million a year. So you're getting paid. Carlton Davis gets paid 20. Carlton Davis is a guy that you expect to put on your number one receiver, and he erases him out of the game. He locks him down. DJ Reed was your Carlton Davis replacement. So what am I supposed to do with, oh, well, I don't know, bro. What am I supposed to do with it was CeeDee Lamb, it was Devontae Adams? What do we do with that? Yeah, I'm just gonna. I'm gonna. All right, be right back. All right, we back. Um, so yeah, as I was saying, DJ Reed supposed to be your number one corner, and it's okay that he gives up 105 yards to CD Lamb. It's okay that he gives up 50 plus to Devontae Adams because you're not supposed to be able to cover those guys. Nobody else can. This is why they both won the Super Bowl because there's. Oh, I'm sorry, they didn't. You CD Lamb didn't make the playoffs. What? Uh, Devontae Adams didn't win the Super Bowl. So that's a built-in excuse. I don't want to hear that. Now we're talking about bringing in another corner. I mean, like I said, I'm always the person that tells you that it's not about the money and the money's there and you can make it work. I'm just starting to think that they don't know what they're doing at the cornerback position. Brad Holmes calls himself a DB snob. For sure, Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch are solid. We don't know what's happening with Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch this season. We know Brian Branch is going to miss significant time. He's not going to be back until maybe late November, which is around the time that his injury actually occurred, right? So we're saying a whole year for him to be out. And then Kirby Joseph, we don't know what's going on with his knee. We don't know, he showed us a picture of him getting some sort of treatment. We don't know if that's going to have him all the way back. We don't know if he's going to be taking weeks off. Okay, he's got to have maintenance and load management and all these other things. He's probably not going to practice too often. But what is he going to do as far as game time? So for sure, those two were hits, and they were found in the third and the second round, respectively. However, the cornerback situation has been abysmal, other than Carlton Davis and flashes of Terrion Arnold. Carlton Davis should have been retained. Y'all know how I feel about that. Again, if you would have paid Carlton Davis $4 more million a year, you wouldn't be talking about going and grabbing Jamel Dean, which is going to make your total $8 million more than what you would have been paying if you were only paying Carlton Davis, right? Because you paid DJ Reed $4 million less per year because you thought you were getting a bargain and you got what you paid for. Now you're talking about bringing in Jamel Dean for $12 million a year. Well, that is what? 16 plus 4 is 20. Take away that 4 from the 12. What do you have left? 8. As I said, 28 million tied up in the cornerback position when you could have just had 20 million and Terrion Arnold. You see how that works? So I'm not a huge fan of the thing with Jamel Dean. All right. To the Max Crosby situation. All right. Tactical Sports says, I really think that the Lions should move TA to the star position and work on the cornerback position in the FA and draft. And again, that makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is then having to reallocate those funds. And you've got to fix it. You've got to do something. If it's Jamel Dean, that's awesome. If not, great. We're gonna look at another DB situation in a couple minutes here. But I don't know. It's just the DB snob. He looks pretty clueless when it comes to DBs. Not DBs altogether, but cornerback DBs. What up to Irv Gotti? It's all good. We're struggling out here tonight. I don't know. My internet has been doing some things that I don't know what it's doing and why it's doing it. With McNeil, the money actually lines up, so that would be an easy trade if the Raiders want to do it. Okay, that is true. But you know what? I also don't believe that the Raiders want Aleem McNeil, but they might be doing the same thing that the Cowboys did with the Micah situation and saying, well, we need to get better in the middle. Cool. Right? You take Aleem McNeil off our hands. Because that contract right now is not looking, it's looking shaky, baby. All right. Let's look at the other situation regarding a defensive back. And this comes from Detroit Lions on SI. And y'all know it's usually the doc, but this is Christian Boer. All right. He says pros and cons of Lions trading for Minkah Fitzpatrick. So a big name may hit the trade market as the NFL offseason commences in 2026. Miami Dolphins safety Minkah Fitzpatrick is reportedly being made available for other teams, according to NFL reports Wednesday. This could be an intriguing target for the Detroit Lions, who have some injury concerns heading into the offseason at the safety position. This news is the latest information amidst a flurry of moves the Dolphins have made in an effort to clean up their salary cap. On Monday, the Dolphins announced that they had released 3 players, including wide receivers Tyreek Hill and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, and offensive lineman James Daniels. The team also recently released Bradley Chubb. Fitzpatrick is entering the final year of a 4-year extension. Originally signed as a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers, he began his career with the Dolphins, but was traded to Pittsburgh 2 games into the 2019 season. He would play 6 seasons with the Steelers before heading back to Miami in a trade involving a cornerback, Jalen Ramsey, the veteran, involving cornerback Jalen Ramsey. The veteran is a 3-time All-Pro and has earned Pro Bowl recognition in 5 seasons, including 3 years in a row from 2022 to 2024. Jordan Schultz sources the Dolphins have had trade talks with teams regarding 5-time Pro Bowler safety Minkah Fitzpatrick. Miami released 4 players earlier this week, including Tyreek Hill, and are in the early stages of. The Lions would be an interesting contender in potential trade talks for Fitzpatrick in an ideal scenario. The team would be set with Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch roaming the back half of the defense. We don't know that. However, there are concerns with injuries surrounding both players heading into the 2026 season. Right. Joseph is some reports on his future and what this injury could do are less than optimistic. Branch, meanwhile, tore his Achilles in December, and the length of that recovery could force him to miss the start of next season. As a result, the safety position may be one of the bigger needs than previously anticipated. This would potentially make them active in a search for a player to fill any void, and Fitzpatrick would be a high-end option. On the one hand, the addition of Fitzpatrick makes the Lions even more versatile in the secondary. If Joseph and Branch both make quick, full recoveries, Branch could slide back into the nickel position and allow Joseph and Fitzpatrick to roam as safeties. Durability hasn't been a major issue with Fitzpatrick, as he has appeared in at least 14 games in each of his seasons, but one. even though he wasn't selected for the 82 combined tackles, an interception, a sack, and 6 passes defense. The issue for Detroit would come from a financial perspective. Fitzpatrick is still under contract through 2027, and a trade would come with the team taking on $15.6 million for the 2026 season. The Lions are already in the negatives in cap space, and while they can create cap space through restructures and cuts, it would be difficult for them to add this contract to their books. Actually, it wouldn't, especially if you extend him. If you extend him, you already know what happens. Additionally, Fitzpatrick is likely looking for a trade to a team open to signing him to an extension. Like I just said, the Lions have already committed plenty of funds to retaining their own talent, and the likes of Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, Branch, and Sam Laporta would only add money to their books. While adding Fitzpatrick would be a massive move, it may not be in the best interest of the Lions at this stage. Instead, the team could opt for a younger option who could develop in their first year before taking on a more prominent role in the event that Joseph and Branch struggle to recover long term. Now, this situation is going to take a 4th round pick. That is it. A 4th and a 5th, maybe. A 4th and a 6th, right? Always happen. This is that this is going to be that situation that this year where you be like, damn, the Lions could have done that. They should have got in on that trade. A younger, cheaper option. It is a major need at this point in time. I just don't know if I'm doing it. So he's what, 8 years in the league? 9 maybe? I don't know if I'm doing that. Plus extending him. Yeah. So let me see what y'all think. Yeah, that makes sense. The Dolphins are cleaning up shop. They're also getting rid of Tua, from what I hear. Oh, they need to. They need to get rid of Tua. Yeah, I wouldn't mind him, but I don't know if that's. Can he get under the cap? Can he? Yeah, it's no issue. I mean, especially if they're extending him void years. It's a lot of stuff that they can do. And we've already talked about it. So when you tell me, oh, 15.6 million, I'm not even worried about that. But here again, you grab Jamel Dean. You trade for me. All right. All right. Nah, it's on my end. I don't know. Something happened to my internet today, and I don't know what it is. It started acting up. Um, the only thing I can think of is I connected my car to the Wi-Fi, and maybe. So let me go out and disconnect it and be right back. All right, let's see if that works. If it does, I know that I can't have the car connected to the Wi-Fi while streaming. Um, okay, so you signed up and couldn't log in. All right, so his cap hit was 19 million, and maybe a hard pill to swallow for the Dolphins. Pause. um, like, so here's the thing: you sign Jamel Dean, you trade for Minka Fitzpatrick. Cool. Now you've fixed your secondary for the most part. Um, and I'm not opposed to fixing your secondary. I'm annoyed at someone calling themselves a DB snob and then just having to scramble and make these types of moves because you didn't know what you were doing. You didn't know what you were doing when you let Carlton Davis out of the building. You didn't know what you were doing when you signed Emmanuel Mosley. You didn't know what you were doing when you signed Cam Sutton. Uh, it's you didn't know what you were doing when you drafted Ennis Rakestraw. It's creating an unnecessary holes. This should have been fixed by now. We're going into year 6 and you still don't have a secondary. That's crazy. You had one the year before last and you let him out of the building. You know what I mean? But Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, that was a situation where nobody saw it coming. Kirby Joseph, you could say they have some culpability in it because they didn't give him a physical or whatever before he signed, or not an extensive one. So but it's a degenerative need. It doesn't just pop up overnight. I'm sorry, it doesn't. Um, couldn't sign up. That's weird because when I tested it in the beginning, I could sign up without a problem. So that's something that I will check out. Um, wouldn't be shocked if we signed D. I mean, I'd be shocked because that's just an admission of defeat by Brad Holmes. And he doesn't like to admit defeat. He signs these harmed dudes all the time, broken yo-yos. And that's been the problem. So I'd love to have Jamel Dean and Minka Fitzpatrick on my team going into the season. I'd be excited about the secondary and what we could do, but then they'd probably just want to play man coverage and not really use Minka to his strengths, um, which is moving him all over the defense and all over the field. I don't know, bro. I mean, the defense is not in good hands. I'm gonna tell you that much. Um, I don't want to speak too soon, but I feel like it was my car. I feel like it was the car. Um, the defense is just not in good hands right now, and I don't appreciate it. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. Uh, it's not what you do, man. You don't just keep throwing money at the problem. All right, we couldn't. We drafted one guy, and while he looks like he's promising and he has potential, he got injured twice this season. You know, two separate shoulders. Oh, the other guy that we drafted in the same draft as him, well, he can't get on the field because of his injuries. But I mean, if only someone had told us that missing the pre-draft process, the entire pre-draft process, while recovering from core muscle surgery was a huge red flag. And the fact that he had all of these soft tissue injuries in college was a huge red flag. If someone had only told us that about Ennis Rakestraw, maybe we could have made a different pick. Oh, Motor City Don P told us. Well, we don't listen to him. But maybe you should. Maybe you should listen to some Motor City Don P, because I told you, don't draft him. I told you not to do it, but you did it anyway. So that's what that is. It seems that the only CB that the DB snob got correct is CD3. The class is still out on TA. That is correct. And CD3 is the one he let walk out of the door because he didn't want to pay him an extra $4 million. You see what I'm saying here? You didn't want to pay the man an extra $4 million. Now it's looking like you're gonna have to pay an extra $12 million if you sign Jamel Dean. That's what I'm saying. Didn't we sign Davis from Tampa Bay going back to the well again? No, we traded for Davis. We traded for him. If we had signed him, he'd still be on the team, and I wouldn't be complaining about him being on the Patriots playing in the Super Bowl. Do you think this is going to be a make it or break it draft for Holmes? No. And the reason I say no is because he's got one more after this one. He's got one more after this one. What I will tell you is this, and I don't know how this would happen, but let's say that everyone he chooses has the same impact as Tyleik Williams and Isaac TeSlaa, which was very minimal. It's going to be hard to justify extending his contract beyond 2027. Also, a general manager needs to do other than draft. He needs to execute trades and he needs to sign the right free agents. And we were going to get into not all of our free agents, but some of our, well, probably all of them. Our own Detroit Lions free agents. We were going to get into the talk because I saw a podcast yesterday. I was listening to one. There was praise for Thomas Harper. What are we doing? Like as Lions fans, Thomas Harper, like it's important to re-sign Thomas Harper. Thomas Harper was on the vet squad, you know, that thing that they call the practice squad that nobody else does. He was a professional practice player. He practiced football professionally. And then he had to come up because Kirby Joseph was hurt. And if he has to play again because Kirby Joseph is hurt, did y'all see Thomas Harper against the run in the Pittsburgh Steelers game? Did you see that? Did you see him missing run fits on those 345 plus yard runs by Jaylen Warren? Did you see those things? Thomas Harper should be your third string safety. There was in this thing, it was mentioned how PFT or PFF had him graded as like the 11th best safety. That I was like, come on, dude. When PFF starts talking their nonsense, just put the tape on. Because that's how you refute PFF. You refute PFF with facts and evidence. That's it. You bring forth evidence to refute PFF. You bring forth reality and you refute PFF. Once you start talking about reality, then PFF's entire argument collapses. To have Thomas Harper rated anywhere is ridiculous. especially if the top 15, the top 20. No, no. So this is ridiculous. Um, yes. All right. You know what time it is. Mailbag, mailbag. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they reading you? Shinix, niggas, niggas, mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Get them in. Bask in it. It's crazy that it was my car the entire time. The entire time it was the car was straining the internet. That is crazy. Get your mailbag questions in, y'all. We better not go into the season relying on Thomas Harper. This is all I'm saying. Like, if PFF talking about he's, a top safety, the top, PFF saying he's a top 100 safety is crazy. People fumbling facts. I would say people fudging facts. Yeah, they're like, oh, he runs a six flat 40, but he's a damn good safety. No, he's not. He runs a six flat 40. Not Thomas Harper. I'm just giving you an example of what type of stuff PFF does. So they fudge the facts. They just don't care about them. They're like, no. A fumble is an accident. A fudging is on purpose. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference. A fumble is an accident, and fudging is on purpose. We are fudging the facts over here at PFF. What will the Lions do? Stay at 17, trade up, or trade down? What is your gut telling you? My gut is not telling me anything. And the reason why is because we don't know what they're going to do in free agency. If we're talking about 17, I don't see too many trade ups happening. Someone could start to fall, and you're like, oh, I didn't expect him to start to fall. So then you trade up. If the Lions trade up, I don't think it's going to be anything dramatic. I would say that they trade up a couple of spots, like to 15. I don't even know if you want to try to trade into the top 10. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Yeah, after free agency, then we can see what their needs are. And the good thing about free agency is after the first week, everything is going to tamp down, and there are people that are still going to be available after the draft. So even if you don't address everything that you need to address in free agency, you can still deal with the draft, and then you got your undrafted free agents, and then you've also got your veteran free agents for the NFL. So, but yeah, I just think we need a really good free agent period. I don't think that we need a regular Brad Holmes free agent period. We need one that infuses talent and fills holes with that talent. This isn't a great draft to trade down, and the Lions don't have the capital to trade up. So I think that they stay put. I mean, you can tap into next year's capital to trade up. So I think they always have the ammunition when you're talking about trading up. Just like the Falcons traded up to get James Pierce. So that's why this year the Rams have their first round pick and the Falcons don't have one. So you could do something similar if you're the Detroit Lions, but I wouldn't really do it unless it's for someone crazy like Francis Mauigoa or I don't even know if I would do it for Fanu, but a guy that you think is going to be the best tackle in the draft, and then you're bookending him. The bookends are the best tackle from Penei Sewell's draft and the best tackle from this draft. Those are your bookends, right? Edge rushers, good luck, right? You're not, right? So again, it's going to be even more emphasis on the pressure up the middle when you play against Jared Goff because you're not going to be able to get around the edge. So that's the crazy part. I forgot where I heard this, but trading up for Downs or Styles, I think it was on a radio show. I was going to talk about the crazy thing is I didn't have enough time to talk about all the things that I wanted to talk about. And they said the offseason was slow. Yeah, we're going to talk about prospects and things like that at some point. Probably. So I'll shift the topic to tomorrow, where I was going to talk about our free agents. And hopefully there will be no more issues with the Wi-Fi. It's crazy. It's crazy that my internet was acting up because I connected my car to the Wi-Fi. That is crazy. And this is wired right now. Here, where what I'm sitting at is wired. So my whole joint was like, Anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. I will try to look into the issue with the sign up. I don't know why that's an issue now because I know I did not have any issues when I tested it. But Tactical Sport even said yesterday that it wasn't saving the sign up emails or something like that. So yes, we'll go ahead and take care of that. All right, Stephanie. Once again, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your lines news pragmatic. And we are out. Peace.